Hey everyone, I wanted to make this video about using Linux as a desktop operating system on your computer at home, and um, which I think is very viable these days. And I'm a long-time Windows user, been using computers and especially Windows since the early 90s, and even MS-DOS before Windows, and so been using computers for a long time, and decided to switch to Linux full-time on my main desktop PC a few months ago. And I'd been using Windows 11 and started to kind of get tired of it because I noticed that the File Explorer in Windows seemed pretty unstable, and the occasional, ads here and there, and it just bugs you to restart for updates, and all these things. And Microsoft's starting to implement AI and Copilot, and just I thought Windows was starting to get annoying, and so I decided to switch to Linux, and right now I'm using KUbuntu 26.04, which just came out a couple days ago. I had done an update, and it seems to be working pretty well. And one of my favorite Linux distributions is Linux Mint, as that tends to just work a lot. I like the Cinnamon interface, but I found that I also really like the KDE Plasma user interface and desktop included with KUbuntu. It just looks really nice, especially if you have a high-resolution monitor. So I just really liked it, like the look of KDE Plasma, and just the scaling, and everything just looks really nice. And after I updated to 26.04 KUbuntu the other day, I found it also has some pretty cool desktop effects. These desktop effects have been around already for a long time, but now they're by default. For instance, if you click and drag a window, it becomes transparent. It does this little wobbly effect. Just a little bit of graphical effects that are kind of cool. But I'm running KUbuntu 26.04. My system is running a Intel i9-9900K, and I have 64 gigs of RAM and Nvidia RTX 3080 Ti graphics card. And so I'm using the Nvidia 595 hardware driver, and it just all seems to be working really well. So I got the Nvidia information running here. But I wanted to show you a couple of games in Linux, because Steam has been doing a lot of work to let you run even Windows games in Linux, and it's actually really easy. And one of the games that I like is Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024, and they actually make it really easy to run these games in Linux. So I'm going to go in here to Properties, and because I wanted to show you that for compatibility, there's this thing called Proton, which is a thing that allows Windows games to run in Linux. And it's really easy. You can just install this Proton and selected this, and it just works. And I have a USB joystick as well. It's a Logitech Extreme 3D, and it just works. So I wanted to run this for you, and to show you Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024 in Linux. I'm going to close this window here. So this takes a minute to start up here. But I was actually really surprised that a game like this actually runs in Linux, and actually runs really well. The performance is really good, just like it is in Windows. So I'm going to give it a minute to start up here. And there it goes. So yep, the intro video here. This takes a minute to start up and load. So for anybody out there considering switching away from Windows to Linux, I think just wanted to make this video to show you that it does work. You can run your stuff in Linux. I've also been able to do everything I need in Linux. For Office documents, I've been using LibreOffice, and of course there's the web browsers available in Linux. You can really do everything you need, and I think it works really well. I haven't really had too much trouble. Any trouble that I've had, I've been able to solve looking online. But overall, it's been really stable. It runs really well. As I said, right now, a couple of my favorite Linux distributions are Linux Mint and this KUbuntu with KDE Plasma. I just think it's really nice. So this is started up now. I'm going to go in here and do some free flight. I like this Textron Aviation aircraft. And the airport I'm going to go to Charles de Gaulle, Paris. I'm going to change the time to give some daylight. So I'm going to go ahead and start this.
Tower, Beechcraft November 52918. Ready for straight out departure at runway 09 to right.
I also wanted to show you another game, and one of my favorite games is called, or these days, is called Overload. I don't know if you remember the games Descent 2 in the mid-90s. There's this game called Overload, which is a sequel. It's made by the same people who made Descent 2, and this came out in 2018. So it's basically the same classic gameplay, but updated graphics and everything. And this actually has a native Linux version too, so this is available for Linux as well as Mac OS, I believe, and Windows. But this is just a cool game. It's for Linux. So actually, I have a save game here. I'm going to load just for a minute here.
Joy the Sovereign.
Yeah, that's the state of gaming and Linux and everything is actually really good, I think. And if you want to run anything to edit documents, I've been using LibreOffice. But they have the spreadsheets and the writer and everything, and you can edit documents if you want to with this. Just as a example of something you can do, and I've been able to do everything I really need to in Linux, so I feel like there's not really a whole lot of reason to use Windows right now. But yeah, that's it. So just wanted to show you here. So if you're thinking of switching to Linux, I feel like there's not much reason not to. But thanks for watching.